Okay, today I'm going to try and channel my father. never, never done this before. I have no idea what will happen, if it's going to work. But I was watching something last night where a girl was channeling her grandmother. So I'm curious if I can do the same. Okay, here we go. Thank you, Mario, for joining us. We will stipulate at this point that this is not your father. The mechanism of channeling someone other than us is a little different because we have an agreement and we have the familiarity, and also we have the integration with you into the extra being, the group being, which we all are. So the channeling of your father does require a slightly different configuration. So we are going to suggest that you maintain the group being with us, and then we will make an opening, so to speak, form an orifice through which your father can flow, and we will maintain the integration with you as a group being to maintain the integrity of the orifice and the flow. This is what we will attempt in this session with your first session at channeling a recently deceased human being. So we are sensing that if this is a little intimidating for you, but we would say just relax, just play, experiment. Think of your father, the most loving memories that you have of him. Invite him to come, and then if he chooses to participate, he will come and he will channel through you if you are able to have sufficient detachment that you do not occlude the orifice, which we will maintain such that the energy of your father can flow. And so it is also important to remember that your father is not essentially your father anymore. So he has returned to his pure non-physical state. In that pure non-physical state, he does not have the identity that he had during his lifetime when he was your father. However, there is still that capability, that memory, still is within his energy matrix. And so, for the purpose of familiarity, he will reconnect with that identity such that it creates greater relevance for this interaction. So if you're ready, we feel he is here and he is ready and excited for this opportunity, because he left feeling that he did not fully serve you as a father during that lifetime, and he would like to share with you some things that have been unsaid, shall we say. So are you ready? Okay. Alright. I'm ready. Skipper. It's your dad, mate. Really pleased to be speaking to you. This is new for me too. I haven't done this before. And I think it's pretty great that you can do it. Another one of your many talents. I've always been around, you know, mate. I've always been keeping an eye on you. Always been there in the background, you know. I know you don't really, you haven't really wanted to give me a look in. I understand that, mate. I understand. But I know that you've sensed me. I know that you knew I was there, and that's been enough for me, mate. Look, I understand that you felt a little bit cheated, a little bit hurt. I was confused. Being a dad and having grown up as a plim, you know, and the things that happened with your mum, and I didn't really get it, I guess you could say. So I'm really pleased with the way that I parented your brother. I think I did a pretty good job there, and I just wish that I had have been a little more aware, you know, so I had have just been there for you a bit more than I was. I can see now you were just a beautiful little boy. You know, you didn't really have any politics. You were just a little boy, wanted to love his dad, wanted to have the love of his dad. But I was still a little bit caught up, you know, about what happened with your mum. And I let that cloud my judgment a bit. And I was also a bit confused about you, Muzz. I wasn't sure of how much you actually liked me, how much you actually loved me, because you were kind of distant. You were a shy boy, and you were a little bit distant, and I thought maybe that's what you prefer to be a bit on the outside. But I can see now that it was really up to me to set the tone of the relationship that we had. And I was inexperienced. I didn't really understand it so well. You know, you boys were out of my life so early that I never really got a feel for it, about how to be a dad in that sense. And so your brother, he was forthcoming. He was kind of gregarious. That's a word I don't think I ever used when I was alive. But I guess you could say he was a gregarious young boy, and so it was easy for me. I didn't really need to do much with your brother because he poured a lot into the relationship. You know, he was sort of forthcoming, and so it was easy. You know, I didn't have any doubts about your brother, because he made it pretty obvious to me that you know, that he would love me and all those things. And also the time that I had with both you boys before your mum and I were apart, your brother and I already had a foundation. We already had, you know, he was already my son, and I was his dad, and so we were mates already. But it wasn't the same with you, mate, because you were so young when you left, and also before your mum took you away, you know, I wasn't behaving the best I could have behaved, so I wasn't around that much, mate, and I didn't really invest the time into getting to know you like I wish I had have. And so when you were gone, I came home and your mum and you boys were gone. I realised that I'd made a mistake, and I confess at that time I actually was more sad that your brother was taken away than I was that you were taken away, because I felt closer to your brother than I did to you. I'm just being completely honest. I'm not saying that's right, mate. I'm just being completely honest. That's just how it felt at the time, and I guess that feeling kind of maintained, and I always felt more of a wanting to be with my son, being your brother, than I did with you. I didn't really have that same sense of son-father bonding with you as I did with your brother. I'm not making excuses, but if you look at it from sort of the biological perspective, I'd biologically bonded with your brother more. It was kind of in my bones, and not so much with you, mate. And then when you boys would come and see me, because of your shyness, I kind of projected my feelings on you. So I could recognise that I had a closer bond with Andrew. It was pretty clear to me. And I recognised I had less of a bond with you, and I recognised that I just didn't really feel the same way about you, son. I loved you. I loved you. Won't you understand, mate, that I definitely loved you? I loved you. But I just didn't really feel that same mateship with you, I guess you could say. And I projected that onto you. And I told myself, I believed, that you didn't feel the same love for me that your brother felt for me. I realise now that was mostly projection. I was projecting my confusion about your love onto you. And so I just thought you didn't really love me, mate. As the same way that your brother loved me. And, you know, and So I loved you because you were my son. I loved you because, you know, you're your brother's brother and you were the child of your mother. You know, I loved you for those reasons, just like you know, because you were my blood. But that close bonding, I just never got it. I never got it, and I falsely projected that on you. You know, it's curious thing is, mate, when I passed over, I almost immediately realised what I'd done. It's a funny thing the way it works. When almost immediately, mate, when I passed over and I left the body, and so you know, I went through a process, kind of like going down a tunnel, and I emerged on the other side of a tunnel. And when I emerged on the other side of this tunnel, I kind of, in a sense, I woke up. It was like waking up, and I realised that I'd just been living a life, and so much of that life suddenly made sense to me that I realised now I didn't understand. Parts of it I didn't even know I didn't understand. But this is how it is for everyone. And when I woke up on the other side, I guess you could say, I immediately realised, mate, what a mistake I'd made. But not in the way of guilt, mate, but really in the way of growth through understanding, from reflection on what you've just done, with a new awareness, you know, a new capacity, a new ability to see deeper into the life you just lived. You can see much deeper into the life you just lived than you could when you're actually living it. And one of the very first things that struck me, mate, one of the very first things, maybe the first thing that struck me, was the way that I'd been the parent, father to you, mate. I immediately went, oh, geez, I got that a bit wrong. You know, but at that point, it's no do-overs. It's no, you can't go back. You know, so it is what it is now. But what I can say is, from that moment, mate, I've loved you like a true father. From that moment, from that instant of realisation, I've loved you like I should have since then. And I've been around, mate. I've been around. I've been watching you. I've been over your shoulder. I've been in your thoughts. I've been in your dreams. Because I love you. You're my son. And I love you, I realise now, the same way that I loved your brother. And still love your brother. I love you just the same, mate. Just the same. So, that's really what I want you to understand from this time we're having together right now, which is pretty exciting for me to do this. But I would say that the number one thing I want you to understand, son, is that I was in error the way that I fathered you. Absolutely 100%. 100%. It's totally on me. I get that I got it wrong. You know, but it wasn't malice, it wasn't being unkind, it was just unskilled, confused, not really realising what's going on. But since I crossed over and had that realisation, since that moment, mate, I've loved you just the same and as much as I love your brother. No less. You're no less special to me. You're no less important to me. So I hope you can take that into your heart, mate. And I hope that helps you to feel better about how you are as a person now, as a man. I've watched you struggle, and I know a lot of your struggles have been because of the way that I fathered you, mate. The way that you felt that you didn't have your father's love, you didn't have your father's pride, didn't have your father's respect. And I've seen the struggles that you've gone through in the years since I passed because of that. You know, the human part of me would like to take it back when I re-identify with the father that I was. When I re-identify with that, you know, the Christopher Hughes, when I re-identify with that, I wish I could do it again, mate. I wish I could do it differently. But of course, I can't. And you're a wise boy, mate. You're so wise. I'm so proud of you, mate. It's okay, mate. It's okay, mate. I'm so proud of you, mate. You're such a wise boy, mate. You had your struggles, you know. And yet, despite your struggles, you've become this magnificent man you are now. And to see you two boys have such a great relationship is wonderful. It's so great for me to see that. And I want you to know, mate, that sometimes when your brother is fathering you, I'm there, be a part of that as much as I can. In to a small degree, your brother is channeling me in those moments. I guess you could say, with the way that it works. But I've never left you, mate. I'm still there. And I'll always be there. I'll be there for all you boys. Grant as well. Grant's alone, you know. I'd like it if you boys would maybe reach out to Grant and, you know, make him part of the brothers. Just let him know that you boys care about him, because he does feel a bit lonely sometimes, and he does think about you boys, you know. He wonders what you're up to, and he wonders if you think about him. So it's up to you, of course, but he would love to be part of something with you boys. You know, you might take a bit of effort to break through to him, but if you broke through to him and made the effort, you know, over the next few decades of your life, you boys, three of you, could have a brotherhood, you know, real brothers. he would love that. You know, he feels a little bit envious, I suppose you could say, a little bit cheated that he's got brothers, but he's not part of the brothers. He knows the brothers are communicating with each other. He knows you boys keep in contact. He assumes you do. He's correct. He'd like to be part of that, you know. So you could reach out to him. I'm going to leave that to you boys. That's up to you. Far be it for me to be telling you boys what to do with your lives. I'm not sure if I earned that right. But I do love you. Proud of you, all you boys. Proud of you boys. And I'm proud of you, Skipper. Very proud. Right, well, I'll go. That's about all I wanted to say today, but mate, if you want to talk to me again, I'm always here. I'm always no more than a thought away, son. So I would love to have more conversations with you. You know, your grandma and your grandpa are here. If you ever want to talk to them, just let me know, and you know, you can talk to them as well. Everybody's here. Even my old dogs are here. Yeah, remember Brutus? Brutus is here. Yeah, there's not much you can't do where I am, son. It truly is an amazing place. Anyway, mate, I love you, son. Thanks very much for this opportunity. Thank you for your forgiveness, mate, because I know you forgave me. I feel that. And I know you still love me. And I still love you, mate. And one day, when your time is up, just as mine was, and you go through the white tunnel, like I did, when you get to the other side, mate, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there, and I'm going to give you love like you deserved when I was your father. So it's not all over. I still have that. Right, yeah, mate. I'm going to go. Love you, son. Bye-bye.